Welcome to this week's episode, The Power of Shunya, Quest for Zero. I'm Anupam Kher and I'm very excited to be with you for our special season finale. 15 weeks ago, we embarked on a quest across India to discover India's game changers, who have the power to shape our future. It's clear that eager visionaries across India believe in potential of Shunya. But how do we turn this potential into a movement, into a force to be reckoned with across India? Well, today we will discuss that. We will introduce Gaurav Kapoor, our host of the Challenge for Zero on ET Now, who has been searching for the future Aryabhats and students visionaries across India who believe in power of Shunya. Today, Gaurav will speak with the CEOs, inventors, scientists and experts featured this season to discuss the season's most ingenious ideas and debate the way forward. What must we do to foster a culture powered by Shunya?
Hello and welcome. I'm Gaurav Kapoor and this is the very last mile of our quest for zero. Now, India is one of the world's largest economies, and yet some of the challenges that we face are very basic. Millions in our country live without electricity or access to safe drinking water. We have the highest number of malnutrition children under the age of 5, and we are also one of the countries to have the worst air pollution. Now, over the past 15 weeks, we've asked ourselves the same question again and again: can all of these be diminished to a zero? Zero hunger, zero infant deaths, zero carbon emissions perhaps. Now, these questions have resulted in a quest for answers that are grounded in cutting-edge science and innovation. And today, joining me in this finale are some of the best minds we have seen and heard during this journey. So let's meet our guests. Joining me first, my old friend, Dr. Homi Bidwar, Director at DuPont Knowledge Center in Hyderabad. Now, he has held a number of technical and leadership roles in engineering, electronics, fluoroproducts, and central research and development. We also have with us Pulkit Gaur, founder of GridBots. If he and his company have their way, trust me, artificial intelligence would take over our lives. And there'd be a robot sitting here doing the show. But for now, he's just building robots with application in defense, space, nuclear, and industrial sectors. We also have Salim Mohammed joining us, the co-founder of Xcode Life Sciences, that enables people to take control of their lives by getting to know their DNA. It is the first of its kind in India to use genetic assessment as a basis to create personalized healthcare. We are also joined by Vikas Kasliwal, VC and CEO of Shriram Urban Infrastructure Limited, which is currently building India's first LEED Platinum certified green building, Palais Royal. Pardon my French. Now, before we proceed further, here's a look at what motivated us to revisit our legacy of scientific and innovative thinking.
With a legacy of science and a history of excellence. It was only apt that India was the birthplace of Aryabhat. A discoverer, a mathematician, a scientist and an innovator. Aryabhat's biggest contribution to the world was zero. What significance does zero have in modern India? As India's population expands, so do her challenges. India's infrastructure needs to double over the next 5 years. Food production needs to increase. We need to light up all remote areas. We need to protect our environment and provide affordable and quality healthcare to all. How do we harness the power of science and innovation to solve these modern-day challenges? How do we make sure India makes an imprint on the world and demolishes her challenges through sustainable thought and action?
Also, zero is not a bad word, as we've seen in the last few weeks. In fact, Homi, in this case, zero is, well, the hero.
Well, I think zero is the aspiration, right? We are kind of starting with thinking about huge possibilities that we can actually overcome, that are challenges for us, and it aspires us to reach out there. So I think Shunya is an extraordinary concept in that sense, and it allows us to do things, heroic things perhaps, that we probably wouldn't otherwise.
The way I see the world, like where it's going, we do not have like resources, too many resources left to experiment with. So you have to be like conservative in approach from day one. And I think like that is something which should be in every innovator's mind, like saving the resources, saving the lives, and like boiling in everything to zero.
Yeah, Salim, that's interesting because that's what you're doing, right? You're like, enough, there's not too much left outside, let's find the answers inside us.
Yeah, actually I've always believed in dreaming big, because I think that's the way you have to have a mindset. I mean, at Xcode, what we do is we are trying to bring about a transformation in healthcare, and also contributing towards zero illnesses. Well, it's an aspiration, like Homi mentioned. It's a big dream, but I think we have to start somewhere.
Innovation and the great leap of technology and the mindset would be not to be constrained by the resources.
Yes.
So you have like air floating around freely. Or if you have space, the void of space, how do you use that? You know, never get constrained that I've got a finite amount of fossil fuel, or I have a finite amount of water on the earth. How do I get new stuff in to deliver the same result? That's important.
India, right? We are, you know, the word jugaad in India is, which I think is a bad word, but it's somehow become a glorified good word now. And we all do it. I think we're all guilty of it. I mean, you gentlemen a lot lesser than I am, but sort of guilty of it, of trying to find the eternal quick fix to problems. You people have taken the long road. It's the hard road. A lot of speed bumps?
If you start and you try to formulate the problem, you try to like model the problem, then you try to like try to bring the hypothesis and all that. So that's going too low. 50% of the people will not actually like attempt the problem then. So you need to start from somewhere. So that's the jugaad thing. So that's called jugaad. So just to like get started.
Yeah.
And then you probably can refine the model.
The real seed of the thought is very interesting. And I think that is what we have to treasure in Jugaad in some ways, right? So you can't discard it. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You kind of have to keep some of the neat things, but you have to go beyond that.
We also have to build an ecosystem that is supportive of the innovation that is happening. For example, the role of incubators or the role of mentors in an idea, in an innovation, to take it to the next level. I think all this has to come together because that's when the innovation goes from Jugaad stage to the next stage.
You have to change the mindset. Unfortunately, we do not celebrate our failures.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem.
Very interesting point that you say about failure, about celebrating and not be scared of it. There's an interesting philosophy in DuPont about this, isn't it?
Yeah, we like to celebrate our failures, and probably we don't do enough of it, but we want to create that culture.
The Harvard Business School, when I was studying there, we were told that the best managers are those who succeed 7 out of 10 times. You said it should not fail too often, but you should not succeed too often also. Because that means you're not taking any risk. If you're not taking any risk, you're not going to push the envelope.
But gentlemen, before we wrap this segment up, which industry do you think has the potential of reaching Shunya the fastest?
I see like one of the sectors is like nuclear. Because it's the futuristic technology. You are talking about nuclear energy now, like one of the alternate options available. So you cannot actually like make a human work there because there is a certain amount of radiation you can take. So you cannot actually send a man inside. There is no possibility. So you have to work with machines. You have to work with intelligent robotic systems.
It's possible in healthcare too. I mean, we have seen it in the case of polio. That's a classical example. And in fact, now there's a lot of support system that's coming up for tuberculosis. I think we'll get there even in terms of health. We could get there in about 15-20 years.
Well, our guests are going to leave right now, so thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Homi's going to stay back, and we're going to have some more innovators, some more very fine minds joining us on the other side of this break. So please stay with us.
And website at GoDaddy.
It's go time. GoDaddy.
Welcome back. I'm Gaurav Kapoor and you're watching DuPont Presents The Power of Shunya, The Quest for Zero. Before the break, we took you through India's rich legacy of a scientific temper and examined the key challenges facing us. Well, over this session, we analyze how Shunya is not just a concept, but can and should be made into a culture that India can strive towards. Joining me now, along with Dr. Homi Bhadwar, who's still here, continues to be a part of our discussion, is Mr. Ravi Pandit. He is the Chairman and Group CEO of KPIT Technologies Limited, which has come up with a revolutionary smart technology Revolo, which transforms cars into fuel-efficient vehicles. 30 to 40% reduction in emission. We'll talk about that in just a second. Also with us is Mr. Vikas Shah, the Chief Operating Officer of Water Health Private Limited, which efficiently purifies any source of water to WHO quality drinking water standards. And that's no easy task in a country like India, where more than half the people have no access to clean drinking water. And we also have Mr. Rajiv Karwal, who was part of our challenge jury. He's the CEO of Milagro Business and Knowledge Solutions, which pioneers solutions to address the problem of pollution and harnesses robots to do the task. There he is. So, gentlemen, let's quickly bring you in on the innovation of it, of the innovation question that we had asked at the end of the segment, the previous segment. Is that the only way out for India to do the task? There he is. So, gentlemen, let's quickly bring you in on the innovation of it, of the innovation question that we had asked at the end of the segment, the previous segment. Is that the only way out for India and India's problems?
Definitely yes, because the magnitude of any issue in India is huge, and especially the population, the length and breadth of the country. We
don't have small problems, right? All the problems are always gigantic.
Huge. Of course, geographically you are big, then the variation in the geography itself, the population, the languages, the religion, and the conditions. So, any problem which you are trying to solve has multifarious solutions and has to have, lots of layers in it.
Yes.
So obviously innovation is the only way, and the innovation which is easy to understand, it's easy to disseminate, and is conceived in such a way which is scalable, replicable all across.
Innovation for the sake of innovation is irrelevant. Innovation has to be relevant. So many a times I see inventors or scientists falling in love with their technology and falling in love with their innovation, which is completely irrelevant. It has no basis whatsoever. If you're solving a problem and it's for the right reasons, the flow of the tide will take you to greater successes.
Yes. Are there a lot of challenges in India surrounding innovation? And if yes, what are they?
Obviously we need to innovate to solve our problems. Obviously we need more than just innovation to solve the problem. And that more than just innovation is actually building a complete solution. It calls for science. I believe it also calls for technology as well as engineering. And I think it also calls for a social system, which is where I think you are alluding to, that you need to have a society which is receptive to innovative ideas. You need to have even governmental policies which allow you to take some chances. And if you put all of that together, that is when you got the solution. I also believe it's a question of mindset. See, we don't realize that we get more energy from the sun in an hour than the humanity consumes in a year. So if we can harness technology to capture that energy, a part of that energy, we have solved the problem. Every problem is solvable by the human ingenuity. And we need solutions on the technology side, and we need solutions on the social side.
And the commercial side as well.
Yeah, but the thing is that the issue, according to me, Ravi, is much, much deeper. It starts with the fact that not every innovator is an entrepreneur, right? Not every innovator actually understands the true potential of his or her idea. Then it is about building a team itself, which understands, and the work culture which exists in India, right? The way education exists in India, the science and technology and the supporting institutions which actually will be able to create a product which is commercializable from the idea stage to taking it across the globe. I think that is where, as a country, we are lacking hugely.
There is something we need to be thinking about, how we start this whole interest in science and interest in our education system, and how we can get people to really think out of the box. We can't have a dabbawala thing happen once in a blue moon. We need to have this happen over and over and
But
over
does the
again.
education system even encourage any of that? I mean, isn't it just you have to do rote learning, there's 50 people in a class, there's one teacher, get the course done, get them, there's somebody else's problem? Because even now, the pecking order is that science is supposed to be, oh, you're the intelligent ones, and then there's commerce, and then there's art. So which is why you have a lot of peer pressure. People getting into science who would actually be better artists.
Simple thing, if you internalize, you never have to memorize. Nice. Our education system doesn't let you or encourage you to internalize knowledge. And that is where maximum problems actually occur.
We also had Mr. Anupam Kher, who was on his own quest. So let's listen to him and what he has to say about his learnings across that 15-week journey.
I have learned that innovation can come from anywhere, from ideas that were born between brothers who knew that there was a better way to reuse our mounting piles of electronic waste, to a grandson whose grandfather's daunting midnight trek to the fields motivated him, to search for farming automation solutions. The stories and histories behind each innovation have been magnificent and unique. But the one thing these innovations have in common is their passionate pursuit of Shunya. And I have learned that with the power of science and innovation, we can go a long way. We have seen ideas that have harnessed process of biology, ideas that use basic physics, and ideas that rely on principles of engineering. Through innovative thought, these visionaries have used their own personal knowledge and expertise to address a critical challenge. It is this attitude of innovation that we must continue to pursue.
Do you think, I mean, we talk about it, and whenever we talk about our country and the lack of systems, and there's this air of almost hopelessness that comes in. But do you think, looking at the people around you and the generations to come, that need not be like that anymore?
There are islands of excellence and successes, and then there's a vast majority which is probably untouched. And if you ask me personally, I'm unhappy with the ripple effect or the tipping point. If you ask me, are we at the tipping point? We're not at the tipping point, because these islands of success and excellences are so much insulated, in a manner of speaking, that it will take a lot of effort to unleash the systems, the processes, the knowledge, the experiences, so that the rest of the universe benefits from that. And it's not going to be easy, because people are so in such remote areas. Accessing them, making systems viable, and reaching out to them is not going to be an easy task. And to that extent, we'll have to work the hardest for the remaining years of our retirement.
There are big problems, big challenges facing the world, facing India. We are going to need to strive, to reach out to those, aspire to those challenges, find a way to solve them. I believe that these are big enough, complex enough that you require science to do that. You require collaboration to do that. And with the aspiration of Shunya in that framework, with science and collaboration, I think there's a great future. So I feel very optimistic.
So do I.
So thank you, Homi. Thank you. It's been a pleasure as usual.
It was a lot of fun, and I think both these programs on Shunya, the Quest and the Challenge were wonderful programs.
Well, they really have been, you know, and what emerges clearly from that is there are a few changes required, few tweaks that are required, not just in processes, but also in mindset. So we do have sort of enormous challenges facing us, but there is optimism and there is hope, and on the basis of innovation that we can change them, not just at the grassroots level, but right through all the way to the top. But yeah, as we said, all the stakeholders need to collaborate. Well, that's all we have from our panelists here, and from me, Gaurav Kapoor, but we still have Mr. Anupam Kher, and it's over to you, sir.
This quest has been a far-reaching one. We have met over 40 companies, 100 passionate innovators, and 45 science-driven ideas. Our search has proven that just as India asserted its scientific and intellectual rigor 1500 years ago when it discovered Shunya, so do we prove our scientific capabilities each and every day. But the search must go on. There is still much more we can do. We will have to work together to ensure that we harness the power of Shunya to solve our greatest challenges. If you have an idea or innovation that you feel should be featured in next season's Quest for Zero, write to us at Power of Shunya 13 at timesgroup.com. And don't forget to tune into Challenge for Zero to meet the young Aryabhats who are advancing India on our quest for Shunya. Thanks to all of you who have tuned in this season. It's me, Anupam Kher, saying goodbye. And remember, stay inspired.